It is a pleasure to say hello again. Throughout my videos, which are directly related to the Urantia book, I have explained various aspects of this controversial book. But given the growing worldwide interest in this supposed divine revelation, today I am going to present to you in a structural way and as briefly as possible, what is the central approach of the book. In other words, what is the skeleton on which it develops an immense and impressive reality. First of all, I want to tell you that I have studied and tried to experience the teachings in this book for about 40 years. If you have investigated its origin, you have undoubtedly heard dire things, for example, that it is a sect. But surely you will also meet other very beautiful versions. Regardless of which one is true, I invite you to put that controversy aside and focus on the beautiful message and the impressive depth of the wisdom it contains, since to discern the meaning of your wisdom you will not depend on who or what for has been written. If this book leads us to appreciate and distinguish truth, beauty, and goodness, and consequently leads us to be better human beings, then its origin is irrelevant. Due to the crisis that humanity is going through, I made the decision, more than 3 years ago, to guide my work through videos in the Urantia book, for the simple reason that it offers knowledge that can help us in these difficult moments. It could give us some comfort in the face of so much uncertainty. Okay, let's get to the point. What is the central approach of the book? This brief and therefore limited explanation will help you make sense of whatever you read from the book. How did the story begin? We must start from the basis that the same book claims to be the fifth epochal revelation, which, if true, we say that this book contains information from very high-level spiritual sources, and consequently of great value to human beings, not only of the present, but of the future. The level of his message is at the level of the message of Jesus Christ. In the first half of the 20th century these revelations were received and later published through the Urantia Foundation. These revelations were received in the English language, but now the book has been translated into many languages. The message of the book aims to clarify who the human being is, where it is, with whom or who coexists locally and universally, what its characteristics are, including the enormous potential it has through a material body, with a mind and a spirit. The book aims to elevate our cosmic consciousness and spiritual perception. With due discernment of the book, we will understand our great potential and the enormous future that awaits us. In 3 words, it talks about our past, present and future within a universe full of things and beings. God is the origin of all material and non-material reality, of all universes and of all things or phenomena existing within him, as are the planets themselves, suns and all kinds of spheres and energetic and material phenomena abundant in the universe. But God is not only the creator, but also, he is the controller and sustainer of all that exists. God is the one who gives meaning and direction to that all inconceivable to the human mind. God is the origin of all kinds of life, vegetal and animal kingdom, morontial and spiritual kingdom and all the other levels higher than these and of other types of life totally unknown to mankind. In one sentence, God is the first cause, the first uncaused reality. God has created the great material universe and created a myriad of creatures to administer and inhabit it. The lofty mission of each of these intelligent creatures is to recognize the existence of his universal Father, then worship him, and finally reach out to him and try to be like him. There are 7 levels in divine creation: material, morontial, spiritual, obsonite, ultimate, co-absolute, and absolute. These 7 levels encompass billions of beings and phenomena, some relatively comprehensible to mortal minds, but the vast majority of them are totally unknown to our limited capacity. That is why the concept of truth in the human being must be relative, flexible and always changing. These realities develop in material spaces, but not necessarily in time. In this way, there is a great universe that in turn contains 7 super-universes. Within this enormous creation there are universes and other subdivisions up to planets like ours. At the center of these super-universes there is the central universe of Havona, where the stabilized nuclear island of light is found, the divine paradise, the abode of the universal Father from which everything that exists emanates, is controlled and sustained. Of the 7 levels of reality the human being is relatively aware of the first 3, material, morontial and spiritual. In particular, by our nature of material and animal origin, we have a relatively clear awareness of the first level, of the material, but as we mature as individuals and as we grow as a civilization, we become more and more aware and with a better mastery and interaction of the mental level and spiritual. The other levels are totally beyond our understanding, but we potentially have the ability to reach them. While God creates perfect beings in one act, we human beings are evolutionary creatures of time and space. Error, evil, sin, and iniquity are inherent in our species. Evolution is a cosmic technique to progressively approach divine perfection. If we make the decision to be like our Father, then we have eternity to achieve it. At each of these levels there is an almost infinite range of life, from living species with very basic organic structures, such as those that arose in the oceans at the beginning of life, to plant life and animal life, to the mammals, each of these with infinite variance. Above this type of life there are countless types of intelligent beings endowed with a divine spark, each with particular abilities, characteristics and objectives, all of them obeying a divine purpose. Intelligent life ranges from the first beings capable of making moral decisions emerged from an animal evolution, such as Enda and Fonda, the first human beings here on Earth, to the highest and most perfect inhabitants of the central universe of Havona. Among all this range of levels and types of life, we, the human beings inhabit the planet Earth, known cosmically as Urantia. Perhaps we are one of the humblest beings, but equally important in the divine plans. If we see it from a chronological point of view, the human being has a beginning. And the beginning, for us Urantia Earthlings, is precisely our sphere, planet Earth, a school sphere inhabited by intelligent evolutionary human beings, a sphere among the 7 billion inhabited or habitable planets. Between evolution and divine intervention, we are here, all of you and I, looking for the meaning of life. Human life here on Earth began around 1 million years ago, when a pair of twins born to a mother of the primate order, managed to make their first moral decision. It was at that time that a thought adjuster, the divine spark, entered to dwell in them. Thus, begins a temporary union between human material life and the divine fragment of the Father, a communion still imperceptible for those primitive human beings. But the human journey would be endowed with other cosmic virtues to achieve evolutionary potential in the race to the Father. Initially we have a physical body, the living electrochemical mechanism of nature and animal origin. From the mind of a cosmic nature that serves as a mechanism for thinking, perceiving and feeling. From a divine spark, which is a fragment of God that illuminates our path. This spark is prepersonal, and it acquires personality expression through our decisions and actions. Of a soul, which is an experiential acquisition. The father of that soul is the divine spark that inhabits us, and the mother is our mind. This daughter called soul is supermaterial and subspiritual, she is morontial. And finally, a unifying personality. Personality is not body, it is not mind, it is neither spirit nor soul. But these characteristics are required to be capable of displaying personality. And it is through the personality that these virtues are ordered and unified. Personality is the only unchanging reality in the presence of change. It will be the eternal companion of our soul and our spirit. Everything that is not spiritual in the human being, with the exception of the personality, it is a means to an end. This gives us the guideline to know what things we should cultivate in life. In this way we see that the human being begins the adventure back to the Father endowed with potential capacities to achieve it, but since we have free will, it depends on our decision. Identifying our divine reality is one of the first goals. Because the human being now has the ability to recognize a material reality, another Urantia and the highest spiritual, the recognition and study of perceptible reality through a triad becomes natural and mandatory. For example, the identifiable elements of deity for evolutionary humans are truth, beauty, and goodness. The human being seeks to make sense of reality through three basic institutions: science, philosophy, and religion. The first observes and studies the facts, the phenomena, the matter. The second observes the observation of the scientist, discerns the meanings, is the bridge between matter and the divine. And the third, genuine religion, the experience of divinity and the consciousness of the moral being of evolutionary origin, the experience of values. The ascending human adventure has begun and the descending spiritual hosts are waiting for our development. We are not alone, we have received and continue to receive help of all kinds, such as revelations and interventions in the material and spiritual world. For example, the work of Adam and Eve, more than 30,000 years ago, and the intervention of Michael de Nevedon through Jesus Christ, more than 2,000 years ago. At every moment we have the presence of superior beings, such as intermediate beings and those of spiritual origin, starting with our close guardian angels. God is love, consequently, the proof that we have recognized Him and manifest our desire to be like Him, is altruistic service to our fellow men. The journey to reach the Father is long, perhaps eternal, but our Father is wise and patient. He just waits for our decision, through faith, to lead us by the hand. We do not need to belong to any institution to reach the Father. Our stay on earth is just the first stage. If in this life we fail to merge with the Father, we will have many future abodes to continue our ascension. After our death, we will leave this material body. And after the dream of death, we will be born in the Urantial spheres, as long as what we have done here on earth is worth continuing into eternity. There will be a trial. A Urantia body will be our new vehicle. A non-material body, but not a spiritual one, an intermediate body with an intermediate mind, the soul, together with our own divine spark, all unified by our personality. The material body will have been left behind. If our decision to be and return to the Universal Father is genuine and we work to achieve it, there is no time limit. Sooner or later we will merge with our divine spark, we will make two one. This fusion, which will take place in chariots of fire, will be the great conquest of life. From there will be no going back. We will search the confines of the universe fulfilling the highest divine missions, we will continue to ascend, learn, we will belong to a heavenly legion willing to collaborate tirelessly to make of everything created a universe of love, just as God is, our Father of love. Well, we have come to the end. This is the way I interpret the message of this extensive revelation. You are free to make your own conclusions. But I do not want to say goodbye without first telling you that the truth is beautiful because it is full and symmetrical. Therefore, to discern the content of any source, such as the Urantia Book, it is a priority to distinguish or recognize if that source is filled with values. Then check that this symmetry is observable and experiential in life itself and that, finally, those values applied in everyday life, lead us to love and serve our fellow men. When we take ownership of wisdom and exercise it in daily life and find that this work spiritualizes our lives, and those around us benefit from the benign spark of love, then the message becomes more important than the messenger. I am Professor Javier Posada. And may the light of truth illuminate your path.